After you finished high school, you went to Mississippi, and why did you choose Mississippi?
Well, football was my love. I played baseball, I played some basketball, but football was the thing I loved the most. And I don't know why, because I wasn't really built for that, but it was just the sport that I absolutely loved to play. So I was a quarterback at Oologah. We had some very good teams. I mean, my junior year was probably the best team I'd ever been a part of. We went undefeated. My senior year, we went to the state championship game. We were undefeated and went to state. And an interesting note of Claremore and Oologah used to not play football against each other. And my senior year, Claremore played Grove and beat them, and we played Grove and beat them really bad. And people thought that, maybe the two teams can play against each other, because we had some really good teams in that late 80s and early 90s. And so Dr. Ballard moved from Oologah. He was my superintendent, a great friend later in politics, thank goodness. And then he moved to Claremore. And so he brought that game, which became a huge tradition in Oologah-Claremore rivalry. But I like to say that it was our senior year. We both played the same opponent, showed that we could probably compete, and that's where I think the next year is when they started playing that traditional game. So it was a lot of fun. But football was my love, and so I wanted to go play. And unbeknownst to me, my dad, we had made a video, and he had mailed it to schools all across the South. Like I said, my dad was from Alabama, so he wanted me, in the South, and apparently he'd sent the video out. Well, Ole Miss got it and watched it. This was back in the days when you just sent a VHS tape and you hoped that a coach picked it up and watched it. I can't imagine the time they had to spend doing that, but they did. I got invited to camp down there, so I went to camp with Brian Hicks, which was a great friend of mine, and Dax Burchett. And Brian, had the chiropractor place here in Claremore, and his dad, Ron. But we went to camp down there, and I just loved it. I mean, I grew up an OSU fan. I loved Oklahoma State. That's where I wanted to go. But OSU didn't recruit me, and Ole Miss had me down there, and I'd never been to a game where everybody dressed up. I was used to wearing t-shirts and blue jeans at a football game, and here, I mean, the girls, it's like going to church on Sunday. The girls were all dressed up, and the guys were dressed up. It was just such a different atmosphere, and I fell in love with the South. So I did. I went to school at Ole Miss. I walked on down there, but I really loved getting the chance to go down there and play. But after my first semester, they fired the coach that recruited me. So the new coach came in, and he was not a big fan of Tad Jones and had a different style of, they ran the ball. They wanted the quarterback to run the ball more. And again, I wasn't built for running. I was built for throwing. So he came in, but I got to play in the 100th anniversary spring game at Ole Miss. And I drove, at the very end, I drove the team for a touchdown, threw 2 touchdowns, threw a touchdown, had a really good game. I thought maybe he'll give me a chance. So the next week he called me in his office. I thought, he's going to say, hey, Tad, great job, and make him play here. But he said, no, you'll never play for me, and you'll need a transfer. So I called Coach Rader up, and I said, can I come to TU? Because that was another school that was kind of recruiting me at the time. He said, come on. So I got to go to TU, and great experience at the University of Tulsa.
Now, you still hold a record